to bring this cute little magical bag. Oh geez, I'm gonna break it. Here we go.
Yeah.
If you notice, it's navy and it says Herrera for Congress, and it's also available for purchase online.
Oh, okay.
So is this T-shirt. And
Yeah.
you know what those do? They operate as donations to defeat Mark Alford.
Yeah.
Yes!
They're so bright and colorful, and they come in two different colors, khaki and navy. So they're there for everybody. Honestly, it is so great to be here today. I first want to say thank you to everybody who showed up to the debates, the forums, the town halls. You asked questions, you pushed us, you guided us into where you wanted our advocacy to be at. And that's not only for me, but for the other 6 candidates who tried to represent this district with as much vigor and passion as possible, and they are still just as important as they were on August 3rd, okay? Every single one of us, all right? And I've reached out to every single candidate, and I'm hoping to see that each person brings their volunteers, their energy, their enthusiasm to the field, because that's what we need. At this point, you might be seeing some people across the nation doing this fractionalization stuff. That's not going to win us a dang seat here in Missouri. We are a 60-40 state, my friends. We are going to have to accept that and swallow it down. That means, who should we be talking to at this point going into the general? Maybe some Democrats who didn't show up in the primary, but who else should we be talking to? Independents, Republicans, people who are persuadable.
Yeah.
That's who we need to be dressing down every single day, talking to them. Why would you vote for Mark Alford? He voted to protect the Epstein files, didn't you know?
Yeah.
Why would you vote for Mark Alford? He voted in 2023 to remove $100 billion from Medicare.
Yeah.
Then in 2025, under the One Big Beautiful Bill, they removed over $900 billion from Medicare. Crippling our rural healthcare network, and within a year, Fitzgibbon in Marshall, Missouri has claimed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Sedalia has a hospital called Bothwell. That's at risk of closing. Nevada has a hospital. That's at risk of closing. And several others throughout the district. So who's going to be impacted the most? It's going to be children who don't have access to health care and they need it before they go to school or they get exposed to something at school. It's going to be single moms and working moms and women who are pregnant who now have to drive 2 to 3 hours for a regular routine appointment. And they're already stressed financially. It's going to be seniors, grandparents and grandmothers, grandfathers who aren't going to be able to make it to their appointments to get their prescriptions, who aren't going to get there for cancer screenings, who aren't going to get there for pre-existing treatment procedures and exams before it gets worse.
Yeah.
Which means seniors will have less days with us.
Yeah.
That's the cold, dark reality. And when Mark Alford, if he were to get reelected, it means the VA has less money. That means more veterans are going to be unhoused, more veterans are going to be drug addicted, and more veterans will die early. So what I'm talking about today in this general election is we are fighting for our morals, our ethics, our rights as a nation to exist, and we are fighting very much so for life. Now on November 4th, we're going to have 3 amendments on the ballot. The first and really the most important one that I'm hoping everyone will get behind is a no on Amendment 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why does this matter to us as Democrats? Well, 1, we care about women's choice, number 1. But number 2, if you remember back to Amendment 3 when we were voting yes on it, it passed because Republican women voted yes back then. They will vote no this time around. So who we need to be talking to are all those Republican and conservative women who feel as though they have the right decision to make for their own bodies, that they have agency over their future. That's who we need to be engaging with. We also need to be finding those McCain Republicans, those men who agree with us that women have all of the intelligence and capability to make their own autonomous decisions. They don't need a guy to help them. And they don't need a guy to justify it to either, whether it's a doctor, a pastor, a father, or a husband. Doesn't matter. That's how I believe. And I think when we hammer down on Amendment 3 and say no to Amendment 3, we will be successful. Not only for this race at the federal level, but for every state senate and every state house rep and every county candidate and on down. We have to have a solid voice no on Amendment 3. I don't know if anyone has seen Amendment 7, but it's basically Amendment 5, Part 2. They're basically going to take enough of your taxpayer dollars that you go to work for and you spend to your state so you can have police and fire. They're going to take that money that should go to your public schools and to your grandkids and children's education, and they're going to invest that into the stock market. Now, the Republican Party will never tell you who is getting the investment.
Yep.
That is quite literally the government picking winners and losers. And you can guarantee they're going to invest into Palantir, they're going to invest into flock cameras, they're going to invest into data centers, the very same things that we are fighting against, but they want so badly. Why? Because look at who was there on the inauguration day. It wasn't everyday people, it wasn't everyday American citizens, it wasn't even American heroes. It was technocrats and billionaires, people like Elon Musk, who hasn't invented a single thing in his life. It's people like Mark Zuckerberg, who cares more about sowing seeds of division rather than truth, right?
Yep.
That's who will be benefiting under this Trump administration. So when we see Amendment 7 and they're going to invest our taxpayer dollars into the stock market, it's not going to go into the companies that we believe in. It's not going to go into anything back toward us. And it's also a lottery ticket sold as a tax strategy. I don't know about you, but have you seen guaranteed investment and returns back from the stock market in the way that you hoped? Every single time? No, it doesn't work like that. So basically what Kehoe and the rest of the Republican Party is trying to shove down our throats again is if we give up enough money, if we give up enough taxpayer money, eventually that'll grow into billions of dollars, enough for us to phase state income tax out. Do any of you believe that that's actually going to happen in my lifetime or yours?
No.
Absolutely not. On average, that would take anywhere from 100 to 200 years. Not possible. Not possible. So next we have Amendment 8. I worked as an assistant attorney general for the state of Missouri, and to anyone who's law enforcement, I appreciate your service, I appreciate what you do, but just like in every industry, you have good apples and bad apples. Amendment 8 makes it so sheriffs are harder to remove from office. It requires the Missouri Attorney General, Catherine Hanaway, unelected Attorney General, to issue a quo warranto process to remove that said sheriff. Do you think Catherine Hanaway is going to go out of her day to remove a sheriff here in the state of Missouri?
No.
I don't think so either.
No.
Meaning those bad actors, those bad sheriffs who should be removed from office because they were either delinquent in their duties or derelict in them, are going to stay in office. They're going to stay in that uniform. And they're going to keep doing what they're doing on the streets. For me, that is a no-go. So I'm a solid no on 3, 7, and 8. And why I'm bringing that up while I'm talking about, the victory from the primary? Because we have to look at those numbers from Amendment 4 and 5. Folks vote on issues.
Yes, they do.
We are a 60-40 state. I maybe can't get them to vote for me because I'm a Democrat. I know that. You're not going to hear a whole lot of partisan language from me. I've been saying this whole time, you got to flip a red seat blue. I have to drop that language, unfortunately, because here's my fear. I'm afraid that it's going to trigger a knee-jerk reaction or a reflex from Republicans to say, I don't want it to turn blue. I know that they're bad, but I got to keep it red. I can't risk that. So I have to drop the partisan language stuff, and I have to remind each and every one of them who we are based on our morals, ethics, and values. And when we do that, we win. Because we all agree on the same things. Human life has value and dignity, and it must be respected. To include when we are sending Missourians off to war. Now, Mr. Alford never served a day in the uniform. But he has no problem committing your sons and daughters to go and give their life for another pointless natural resources oil war in Iran. Do any of you agree with that?
No.
I've never met a single person, Republican or Democrat, who wholeheartedly believes in this war in Iran.
No.
True story. Never.
Donald
And I ask those questions, especially the veterans. And you know what most veterans say to me is, I served in a weapon of mass destruction war. I know what it's all about. They're not there.
Yep.
If they were there, they would have shown it to us by now.
Yep.
We've been there for over 6 months, my friends. This is completely abnormal. Now, when Mark Alford goes out onto the stage today, you're going to see he's going to continue to perpetuate his cultural and ideological wars. He's going to try and sow seeds of division, saying Democrats are socialists and communists. You know what? I'm not afraid of a label. I appreciate the Democrat Socialists of America. They have some good ideas. Maybe I'm not a member, well, I actually am a member of their party. I pay dues to them. But that doesn't change the fact that I'm still an American, and I still care about this country and the state, and I can think independently. Now, I wonder if Mark Alford can think independently.
No.
No. I think we've all seen the full display for the last 4 years, in particular the last 2 years, of his sycophantic groveling to Donald Trump. And frankly, I am tired of it. I'm embarrassed as a state by his actions. The fact that he's tried to prop up Cass County in 2 different cities, Belton and Harrisonville, to host a detention center without even asking us, without talking to any leadership in Cass County, without talking to the leadership in Belton or in Harrisonville. Within a week, those were canceled. They were ended, and they haven't been talked about since. And part of that was because myself and a few other Cass County Democrats, we organized a protest at the Harrisonville Justice Detention Center, and Bob Houston, within 2 days, reversed his decision. That's what happened. When tornadoes touched down in Missouri and hit Warsaw, Belton, and Clinton, Missouri, Mark Alford was on his Facebook page saying, "I'm paying attention to news reports and analysis." I was on the ground.
Yep.
Hi, I'm the analyst on the ground, picking up the tree and debris out of people's yards, putting tarps on people's roofs, being a good citizen. Because that's what I believe is representation to me. You're not just going to show up when the sun is out and it's bright and happy. You're going to show up when it's rainy, it's dark, it's cloudy, and times are tough. Today I spent about 30 minutes on managed call time with a concerned citizen, a woman here in Missouri. And if anyone's ever made call time, 30 minutes is way over the limit. But she was crying. She was scared. Not only for her health care, but for her granddaughter's health care. And what she said to me, and it kind of stopped me in my tracks, because I think you'll probably hear something like this a lot this year. "I wish my dollars could match my enthusiasm." That's what she said. "I wish my dollars could match my enthusiasm, but I live on a fixed budget, I paid a lot of money already, and I'm tapped out." And I've heard that from a lot of people. One thing that I stayed consistent on the platform trail saying the entire time, and why a lot of people didn't believe in me. Remember, I only had 40 grand, and I won a congressional seat to represent Kansas City on $40,000. That's not easy. But you know what won that thing, that whole election? What they were just talking about. Getting out and knocking doors. Finding young people who are motivated and interested in making a difference in their local communities. Jaden Morgan and Marshall Reidinger were 2 of our hardest working volunteers. Jaden is 16, Marshall is 17. Together, they knocked over 1,000 doors here in Blue Springs alone.
Yeah.
That's insane, right?
Nice.
2 young people over 1,000 doors, and they only had about 2.5 weeks to do it. So they got it done fast, really, really fast. And that allowed for us as a team to move on to Lee Summit, and then as a team to move on to South KC, Midtown, and Downtown. That's how we were able to get it done. Hard-working, everyday Missourians who were sick and tired of the status quo. Young people who were tired of thinking about, do I have a future in this state, or will I have to move somewhere else? Marshall and Jaden want to build their futures here, and they are fighting for it. And I'm going to ask each and every one of you, if you believe in young people, if you believe in 16 and 17-year-olds, that they can go out and do it, knock over 1,000 doors themselves, are you willing to knock one? Are you willing to knock 2 doors for Jaden? Are you willing to knock 3 doors for Marshall? I think you are. I know I am. Now, over the course of July, we knocked over 7,000 doors ourselves. And that's a team of 6 individuals on the campaign team. We were focused. We were communicating every day about, man, my feet hurt. Man, my back hurts. All right, I'll bring you some of this. I'll bring you water. Ezra was there with me the entire time. We took each other out for lunch afterward. We just tried to find every small opportunity to build each other's morale up. And we got through it. It wasn't easy, and even Ezra heard me complaining and whining, and there were some mornings I woke up, my body, I'm 30 now. So there are some days when I wake up now that I'm like, oh, I didn't know this is what people were complaining about. But I remember standing up one day, and in about 3 weeks we were knocking doors, and I literally stood up and I fell over. My feet hurt too much. And I wound up being our driver that day. So the point that I'm making with this is, it takes sacrifice. It takes a lot of hard work. You don't have to come from money. You don't have to be a millionaire. I'm not a millionaire. I started my education with a GED. I didn't have people who believed in me then either. But I believed. I knew what it required to get here, to get to this moment. It took 39 years of hard work and sacrifice and believing in yourself when no one else did. But that's what I'm going to charge all of you with, to believe in yourselves, that each and every one of you, independent of yourselves, can make a difference in the state. More than I ever could. But you can. You've just got to believe in yourself. I wound up knocking 7,000 doors. Somehow we wound up winning nearly 20,000 votes. I'm entirely grateful for that. But look at how many Democrats showed up and voted in our primary. More people showed up this time around than since 2004. That's a lot to be proud of. In Vernon County, Nevada, Missouri, they ran out of Democratic ballots.
Wow.
Over in Pulaski County, they ran out of Democratic ballots. Polk County ran out of Democratic ballots. Several counties across the board all ran out of only Democratic ballots. So keep that in mind, keep that going, keep that energy growing. We have a weekly campaign team meeting now at the office at 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday nights. Everyone is welcome to participate. Our campaign team is now about 40 or 50 people strong. We have over 300 local volunteers. 300 local volunteers. I don't know what that was. I apologize. It was a ghost. 300 local volunteers. So if you're interested in making a difference, join us. We are going to help out every down ballot candidate we can. I believe, in making sure that the most people get across the finish line. I know some of you know about this program I created called Purple Power 2030. Its whole focus is making sure that Jeff City gets purple before the next decennial census in 2030. That is my focus. I don't give up in 26. No matter what happens in November, I'm here. I'm focused on fixing Jeff before 2030. I need you guys to see the long haul run of it, and I think we will get there together. Remember, Eric Schmidt is up for re-election in 28. There were some amazing candidates that showed themselves out this time around. Perhaps one of them might be well-fueled and well-equipped if we keep building them up to take on Schmidt in 28.
Yeah.
We have to do that work now.
Yeah.
If you didn't notice, it took me almost 2 years to get here in this election. So if we start now, we're going to defeat Schmidt. And then in 28, when we win that one, we're going to start to defeat Hawley in 30, and we're going to get our maps fixed by 30, and this state will be the bellwether by 2031. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate your help and your support. Just go to JordanJHerrera.com to pick up your tote today.
Okay.